In this video, we're going to compare a parameter and a statistic. But before we do that, we need to talk about some vocabulary. So the first vocabulary word we want to look at is population. So population is the entire group of individuals to be studied. So a lot of times we can't obtain the data for an entire population, and that's simply because our population is too large. So for instance, we may be looking at the entire United States. A sample is a subset of the population that's being studied. So because we can't obtain data for the entire population, we'll just look at a sample. And then lastly, we have an individual. That is just a person or object that is a member of the population being studied. So now let's look at descriptive statistics. So descriptive statistics consist of organizing and summarizing data, and statistics that describe data through numerical summaries, tables, and graphs. So that's what we're going to focus on the first part of the semester. And then we're going to look at inferential statistics, which use methods that take results from a sample, extend them to a population, and then measure the reliability of the result, which is the ultimate goal of this course. So now that we know some vocabulary, let's look at statistic and parameter. So a statistic is a numerical summary based on a sample, while a parameter is a numerical summary of a population. So now that we know what a statistic and a parameter are, let's look at some examples and determine whether they're a statistic or a parameter. So our first example we have here says, suppose the percentage of all students on your campus who have a job is 84.9. So here the key phrase is all students. So since we're looking at all students, we're dealing with the population. So here the population is your campus. So since we're looking at a population, this is a numerical summary of that population. This first example here is a parameter. So moving on to our second example here, it says, suppose a sample of 250 students is obtained, and from the sample we find that 86.4 have a job. So key phrase here, we have a sample of 250 students. So since we're dealing with a numerical summary of a sample this time, this is a statistic. So a good way to remember this is parameter is a numerical summary of a population. So both of those words start with the letter P. And a statistic is a numerical summary of a sample. Both of those words start with the letter S. So that's how you can remember parameter and statistic.